Hi, everybody. If you're seeing this, I am at sleep at home because I worked all night and I'm gonna get some sleep before I go back to work again. Um, but I was asked to speak to you anyway. Um, let's see. The Lord has just been amazing to me. I grew up in a family that was all believers. My dad's side of the family even built a church. Um, I've always believed in God and Jesus and everything, but I never really followed, how exactly you're supposed to be. I always thought I was a good person and, that I was a Christian and I was pretty good till probably my mid 20s. I started, partying a lot and, doing things I wasn't supposed to. I got into drugs at different points in my life, and um, I did end up getting married, and we had a child. I was pregnant with Nevada before we were married, and it ended up he was making drugs, so we ended up getting divorced, and he doesn't have anything to do with Nevada anymore. And anyway, like I said, after I had Nevada, I didn't, get into drugs or anything anymore, but, I did a lot of drinking on the weekends. I'd send Nevada to my dad's or my mom's, and I'd go out and party and, um, did a lot of immoral things and a lot of things that actually, put my life in danger really now that I think about it. I've had 2 DWIs, and I could have had, if I got caught every time, I could have probably had hundreds of them. Um, uh, then a couple of years ago, as you all know, my stepmother died of cancer, and that was really hard on my dad. They were soulmates, and he was always a depressed person anyway. And a few weeks after she died, he decided to take his own life. That was, I was completely shocked and not a bit surprised, if that makes any sense. Um, I kind of knew it was going to happen. We, tried everything to keep it from happening, but it's just one of those things, he hadn't made up his mind to do it, and he's, anyway, for a little bit, I, continued to drink and all that, and then one day it was almost as I could almost picture, in my mind that poem, that two roads, I don't know exactly how it goes, but the two paths that go off in two different directions. I could almost see that in my mind. I'm like, I can keep going down this road and being a terrible example to my daughter, or I can, straighten myself up. And, I decided, I'm going to start with, I'm going to get back to church. So I came back to First Baptist. I had been baptized at First Baptist when I was a senior in high school. And, it just kind of steamrolled from there. I pretty much just gave myself over to Christ. I always thought that, I had salvation before, but sometimes I wonder, did I really have true salvation until I did give myself over completely? Because I truly believe that some people that think that they, are Christians really aren't. If you have to repent, and the before, nothing really changed. I didn't really feel changed until a couple years ago. And it hasn't been easy. You lose friends, you lose closeness with even family members at times. But I've never been happier in my life. It's, the Lord took that terrible situation of my dad's suicide, and it changed my life. I tell people this, and they look at me like I'm crazy, but I say, my dad killing himself was one of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life, and one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And I say that just because it was a turning point in my life, and it brought me back to Christ and how I should be. And if that wouldn't have happened, and if I wouldn't have leaned on God and trusted Him to take control of my life and guide me, so many times I didn't know what I should do in a situation, or how's it even going to work out. I couldn't even see a way for it to work out. And I just prayed, God, I'm leaving this up to you. It's so many times He has answered. It amazes me, the power of God. You trust Him and He takes care of you. It's, there was a 2 Christmases ago, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford to get Nevada anything, because something had come up and the money that I had saved had to spend on a bill, and God used some member of the community. I don't know if it's a member of the church. I mean, they're still anonymous to this day. My mom knows who it was, but they dropped off money to my mom and said not to say who it was, so that, Nevada could have a Christmas. And, it's just things like that. I try not to worry. I just give it all up to God, and it's amazing what He can do. You think that everything is lost and there's no hope for anything, and He says, guess what? He works everything out for the best, and sometimes it seems like it's a long road to God's will, but if we just trust in Him, it's amazing how He works. It amazes me, the power of God, every day. I can't imagine my life without Him anymore. I'm a better mother. I'm a better person. I'm a better daughter. I'm a better granddaughter. I'm just a better friend. I'm just better with Christ in my life. And people that don't have Christ, I don't see how they can even experience happiness at all. It's a false happiness. And like I said, I've always believed in God, but it wasn't until I completely gave myself over in a terrible time in my life that real change happened in my life. I experienced true happiness, and I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit chewing my fingernails, of all things. I chewed my fingernails my whole life, and and now I'm signed up for classes. I just want to be a good example for my daughter, and with Christ's help that can happen. And I thank God every day for His grace. It's amazing to me. But anyway, I'm sorry I couldn't see you all today, but have a good Sunday, and I'll see you next week.